Welcome to the Hey Docs podcast with your host, Jill Allen. Today, I am joined by Caley Carroll, an entrepreneur, mindset guide, podcaster, and advocate for emotional resilience through life's hardest seasons. Caley's work is rooted in real experience, from building businesses, navigating major personal challenges, and developing daily mindset practices to support clarity, strength, and perspective. In this episode, we're talking about how resilience is built long before crisis hits, why perspective is a choice we practice daily, and how showing up honestly can transform even the most difficult chapters in your life. So let's dive in. This episode was brought to you by ADEC. Are you thinking about opening an orthodontic practice? I know, it's a big decision, but saving 25% on the ADEC equipment you need to get started, that's an easy one. Because ADEC has a special program called Smart Start, designed to help you launch your first practice. You get up to 25% off your ADEC orthodontic equipment and furniture. You also get complimentary services to help you run and grow your business. And my favorite part, access to the Smart Start pricing for 2 whole years after you open your doors. That gives you flexibility to add more chairs as your cash flow grows. It's pretty smart. As an orthodontist, you care about getting all the little details right, and ADEC really got it right with this program. So if starting off with a big savings on ADEC equipment sounds good to you, the ADEC Smart Start is definitely worth a closer look. Just follow the link in the show notes to learn more. Caley, I am so excited to have you here on Hey Docs. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I love this picture behind you. The vibrancy, it's beautiful.
Yes, it is my big elephant there. The good things that come along with elephants. So
Absolutely. Love it.
So I would love it as we get started today. The way I love to start off Hey Docs is just to have my guests take an opportunity and just share a little bit about themselves. And for you especially, I'd like for you to talk about your entrepreneurial journey and how you work and just how it has evolved into what I'll say mindset and emotional resilience. I'd love to hear a little bit about that because I think, especially beginning of the year, we all need a little more of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jill. I'd love to share about that. I would say I've always been like a joyful person. I was the child who was like, good morning, sunshine, every single day. And like, man, we can't shut this girl up. Like she's so happy all the time, even though I faced your normal kid challenges. But I didn't know what it meant to like really lean into that. And when I became a mama, I just really wanted to be at home. So I became a real estate agent, not out of passion, not out of excitement. I just was selling houses. And in 2008, 2009, the recession, that wasn't so fun. Was no longer, definitely wasn't a passion before, was not a passion at all. But I had been teaching some different fitness classes on the side. Actually, after my son, I was like, I've got to do something. After having my second son, I have 4 kids, but after having him, I was like, I got to do something physically to stay in shape. And if I have to be in front of the room, then I'll show up. Otherwise, I might just not show up. So I became certified and I started doing personal training boot camps, like working with pregnant ladies. And all of that was great. But when we hit this recession, my husband and I had to really sit back and think, what do we want to do next? And I hadn't had a boss for 7, 8 years. I didn't want to have a boss again. So I said, I'm just going to try to see if I can make my fitness business work, and started a company. And the journey that the next 12, 13 years took me on, Jill, was so cool and unexpected, as life often is. It led me from starting to just train these women and get to know them, and then moving into a nutrition component. And I met a network marketing company that I'm so grateful for. Did not want to have any part of a network company like a lot of us. Nope, not for me. And had all these ideas in my brain about what that meant, but ended up learning so much about self-help with the quotes around it, personal development. And I started consuming so many different books where I had thought I was done learning when I was 22. I'd studied all my life. I thought that stage of my life was over. And then when I discovered that I could keep learning and maturing and growing, I just became not obsessed, but like I just became like just engorged in all of these different authors. So that led me on this full new world of the idea that joy that I had as a child could become something very
Mm.
intentional and contagious. And I started what I'd say is my journey now as a positivity influencer, is what I would say that I am.
Yes.
And I was really interested in creating programs around mindset. So in 2020, I took this physical fitness over into the mindfulness and really started coaching people on how to find joy through perspective and gratitude in all chapters of life.
Mhm.
And I'm so grateful that I did, because it would be something that I'd need for quite a few big moments in my world thereafter. So I got from there to here.
I love that. And what isn't it so interesting just how life leads us in these directions? And I think being open and fluid to what doors are opening, what doors are shutting is really a beautiful thing if you can trust that process as you're walking through it. And I know this has been something that you have not only trusted but then built a business on. And I really love the positivity influencer. What a cool thing to say that
Cool.
that's what you, yeah, that is, gosh, I like that a lot better than CEO. Your title sounds way better. And I just love that you've taken this journey and that you have decided to bring people along with you on this journey. Because
Mhm.
I think in business, just in general, it speaking from a business owner of almost 20 years now and being in business for a long time, even before I started my own business, there's just a lot of challenges when you look at challenges in being a business owner, and then you throw the personal challenges into it and trying to find that balance on how do you manage it all. And so I am so thankful for people like you out there that that are there to be like, okay, let's take a pulse here, let's
Well, yeah, 'cause
let's
it's not an easy journey, like, to be an entrepreneur or to dive into business like that. There are so many
Mhm.
beautiful benefits, but there are also a lot of challenges that we have to choose to move through, or we're gonna get consumed. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more.
And that kind of takes me to the first topic that I want
Mhm.
to talk about, because all of us in life, no matter where we're at, we are all going to have our own personal challenges. Yes, we'll have challenges in our business, but we're going to have personal struggles, whether it's with our immediate family or people that surround us in our lives. And I know that you personally have faced some pretty significant challenges, and I'm just wondering if you can just talk to us about that, from bankruptcy to foreclosure to a traumatic brain injury, to the list goes on and on. And
Yeah.
I would love it if you can talk to us about that, and tools that you've learned to use, and then tools that you teach on, because I really feel like my audience could really benefit from hearing some of these, because again, none of us are going to escape these personal challenges.
Right. Yeah, life is gonna happen on both extremes, right? I always look at that pendulum of you have your most beautiful, bright moments and you have these, like, dark, challenging times.
Mm.
We get to move through and not just survive, but thrive through all of that. And I didn't really even have a pulse on that at all before my bankruptcy. As you mentioned, back in 2008, 2009, my husband was in the financial industry. So he was providing the mortgages. I was the
Mm.
realtor. We were basically the characters of The Big Short, but I don't know if you've seen that movie, but we weren't doing anything sketchy, but like we were
Yes.
in the industry, and then the
Hmm.
industry imploded.
Yep.
And I was I did not do well during that time, Jill. Like, this bubbly, bright personality, all of a sudden, like, I was sick, like physically sick for a
Mm.
year, going in and out of the doctors, intestinal problems, and all of it ended up being stress. But
Mm.
I was consumed by my ego. I was playing the victim on some level. I was so frustrated that all of my neighbors were able to do loan modifications, but my financer wouldn't do that. And then we couldn't do a short sale. And I was in this space of feeling like I was being judged and I wasn't living authentically myself because I was trying to
Mm.
hide things, which just all of that felt very
Yep.
new for me, very dark, very heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that sometimes in our lives, we have to face something that's that in our face, that's that challenging to make the decision that we're not just going to roll over. We're not just going to let life happen to us. And that was my big pivotal chapter that I never would have asked for, yet I am so grateful for, because that's what said, hey, we're going to try something different. We're going to try intentional joy, intentional happiness. And it's what led me to this entire new adventure I've been on for the last 15 years. And without that, I never would have been here. It starts off with, I think to me, is there's going to be a moment in your life where you're like, I've got to do something more. I've got to take a step in a different direction. I've got to be looking for those doors you were talking about that I maybe didn't even know they were there before. And that was so supportive for me with the bankruptcy specifically. And as it led me into getting a mentor, starting my personal development, I started my next chapter, which is, it's not exactly the flow that you were talking about, but it was like this heavily positive chapter. It was so cool. Like during 2012 to 2017, because you learn and you grow from every chapter of your life. It's not just the depth of the dark, right? But like from this heightened ecstatic, we went from having a negative couple $100s in the bank, and 3 years later, making over 200,000. And like, I was like in the go, I was in the grind, and I learned about tenacity and persistency and like how to fail over and over again and get back up, because that's how I was going to grow. All of these different tools. But at the same time, I was unlearning presence. I was unlearning peace. I was unlearning how to sit still, or maybe I'd never learned it. That's probably the truth. I never learned it. I had this moment where I felt like I kept getting messages to slow down. And that's when I had my traumatic brain injury. And it took about a year for my brain to come back online. I had to go dark. I wasn't on social media anymore. I wasn't on screens. It's like I was speaking on stage one day and teaching and leading all my teams and doing all these programs. And all of a sudden, like my brain just wasn't there. I remember my husband one day, maybe like 9 months in, he's like, I just want my wife back. Like, where'd she go? But it was a lesson that I needed in order to move into my next chapter. And I would say, to your question, to your point, for all of us, there's going to be adversity that we get to grow through. That's the major thing. We get to grow through that adversity. We get to make the choice to grow through it. And during the pit of the adversity, that might not feel like that. And that's okay, because sometimes you're just in survival mode. When you start to come out on the other side and you start reaching and grasping for things and realizing that there's different ideas, different books, different mentors, different people's, different all sorts of different things that can approach and show up in your life, you get to grow into this new person and still hold the qualities that you loved about yourself before, but be in a new chapter. So as you're growing in business, I would say to embrace, or do your best to embrace, and or at least just accept when you have a challenge, because know that you can see, okay, I'm in it right now, but I know I can go ahead and anchor myself in the future, anchor myself in the visualization that I will grow from this. And some I don't know now, but I'm going to know soon.
Yeah, I really love that thought and that concept, because I do feel like so many people just get stuck in the moment and get stuck in whatever they're going through and never make it to that other side. And I love the idea of anchoring yourself in the future. And for any of my listeners, there may come a point in your life you could have a bankruptcy. You could have a health scare, a significant health scare. You could have lots of things that come your way. And I think the take home of this is that doesn't define who you are, and it doesn't define what the rest of your life is going to look like. Now, and I love what you're saying there about, sometimes when you're in it, you just have to sit in it and you have to go through it. But if we can look at what do we get from that? And I can say, luckily, I've been pretty blessed that I haven't had major things happen. We've all had setbacks and things that have happened. And maybe my trauma would be different than somebody else's trauma. We all go at it differently. But I, like you, have always, when I can get on the other side and have some perspective and look back and go, gosh, what did I learn from that? What can I do differently? Maybe even what can I use to hold on to that to be able to help somebody else. Because at some point in your life, and I think you're this perfect example of, there will be somebody else who is in a similar circumstance. And there is nothing better than being able to have the empathy, or being able to talk to somebody, be like, yeah, it isn't exactly the same, but I really truly understand what you're going through, or I can give you some of my thoughts on how I was able to turn that lemon into this lemonade as we went forward.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that I use that on a regular basis just as this positivity influencer. Like I overshare. I'm an oversharer on all my socials, but in a way that I want people to know all sides of my coins. There's not just two
Mhm.
sides. There's every little ridge that goes around there. And I know that maybe someone doesn't have to go through what I went through in order to get that lesson in. Maybe they won't have to have that experience. And other people who are having it, how can I make them feel like that's okay to
Mhm.
be in that. It's not just okay, it's beautiful because it's gonna support you in your growth and in your movement. So,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I love that. And I think it's really sad where we're at in our society, where I get that we've got a lot wrapped up in our egos, and especially where we're at in different parts in our career and whatnot. But gosh, it can be so lonely when you feel like you have to hold that water by yourself versus being able to share it with somebody else. And I love what you said earlier when you were really going through that, that you did reach out, not only in books, reaching out to different people to lean on to help with that. And I really think that is such an important thing also in just being able to come to that other side and then be like, okay, how can I use this for the good of somebody else, or for the good even within my own life? I don't want to have to walk through that again, but gosh, I can do something with it.
Yeah, yeah, and we're not alone. We're never alone. And some of
Mhm.
us choose to walk alone because we feel like that means we're strong, but strength is not in solitude. Like it's just not.
Yes.
Strength is in
Yep.
numbers. And when you open yourself up to both be supported by people and support others, there's so much that can evolve for both sides, all sides when we do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So and again, I know you've been hit with a lot through the years, and I'm pulling back the
Yeah.
onion layers here. So in 2022, your youngest son was diagnosed with a really rare cancer, and then another rare disease. And I want you to talk about, because like we look at this road, you're showing us this road that you've been on. A bankruptcy takes you down, building a business takes you up, a brain injury takes you down, you come out of that, life's on the up again, and boom, you're hit with something. And I don't think that your story is super unique in the sense that lots of people experience things, that maybe not to the extreme, because you've got, gosh, I wouldn't want any of that. But I think that just showing that like life is a constant roller coaster. And I'm wondering if you can, I don't know, maybe just talk about, how did that not just kick the legs right out from under you again? And how are you here and where you're at right now?
For sure. It was just the wildest thing because you described it exactly right, Jill, that up and down swing that we were on. And I just created my 2020. In 2020, I'd created Journey, which is our women's program. And we're like, everything's going great. And it was 2020, as great as it was going for anybody.
Hey, everybody was on a 6-week vacation.
I was working at from home, so it was great. But when we went into the hospital and discovered my son's diagnosis, it was something that you would never want for anybody else to have to experience. And it was it completely took me by surprise is not the right words, but
Mhm.
it rocked my world. It really rocked my
Sure.
world. But in that moment, what I didn't realize until I don't even know how many months later, I I was utilizing all of the tools that I had been teaching without even thought. It's not like I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, there's a big adversity. I can't believe that my son has Langerhans cell histiocytosis and diabetes insipidus. Only 1 in a million kids will ever face this.
Wow.
And I need to go out and I need to get my book and I need to start going through my steps." That's not what happened. I went straight into survival mode. Like, how do I protect my baby? How do I advocate? How do I show up for him? How do I go from basically being like a workaholic, like I loved my work, into a full-time caretaker, and I'm no longer even working. Like, how do I make this shift? And all of the things that I had been teaching, preaching, practicing for the last handful of years were so ingrained in me that I was able to move through it. I'm not saying super gracefully, but I was able to move through it in a way that let me breathe, let me still be there to share. And I remember this one moment, maybe a week after his diagnosis, of getting into the elevator at the hospital, right? So we were at Children's Hospital a lot. And I had walked in thinking we were just doing this like minor test. But as I walked into the hospital the first day, I like looked around and I looked at all these quote unquote hospital families, and I felt for them. I don't know if felt sorry for them is the right word, but my heart hurt for them. And soon I learned that the little test that we were doing discovered a tumor in his head that was caused by this cancer. And he was undergoing anesthesia 5 times, like right away, all these different things. And as I stepped into the elevator and I looked around, and I was still making eye contact, I was still smiling, I was still doing my best to pour light and love into every person that was around me. And I saw their pain, like this deep, dark pain behind their eyes. And my mind just couldn't help but wonder. I just wish that they had some sort of these practices before they had faced this sort of adversity. To be practicing gratitude when things are going well is a necessity, because to practice gratitude when things aren't going well is extremely challenging unless it's a part of who you are down to your core. During his full year, it was about 2.5 years of treatments, 58 chemo fusions, multiple hospital stays, 2 of the types of chemo not working, having to go down to Texas to see a specialist, finding the right type of treatment for him. I was just like in this like robot mode, doing what I could do to take care of him, but also innately doing gratitude every single day, saying thank you for the tumors, saying thank you for a situation, saying thank you for the growth that I knew that our family would have from this, anchoring myself in the vision of what we were going to have, letting go of what I couldn't control, and doing everything that I could to be present for him and my other 3 kids, because I have 4 kids, trying to just do my best as a mom. And through all of that, I got to just become and dive into all of those different ways of being that I teach and that I talk about, and on a daily basis as a survival method. And I just can't imagine, Jill, had I not had those tools, what my journey would have looked like. In fact, so much that there were multiple people, I can't even tell you how many, on social media that sent me a message, and not out of a space of anger or hate, but they were just like, hey, I was really just waiting to see you not fail, but like to just lose it, to get stuck, like you were saying, to get stuck in sadness and grief and victimization. And I was waiting for that to happen, because there's no way you could continue to be as joyful as you were the previous 10 years when you were building an awesome business and you were that joyful kid. There's no way you can keep showing up like that, because life is not just sunshine and rainbows. They all tell me it's not just sunshine and rainbows. And somehow you have still moved through this experience with a smile on your face, with joy, still preaching and teaching joy and perspective. And those were interesting conversations, but they really opened my eyes to what I was able to do, and not trying to pat myself on the back, but it was just a practice. It was just something that I had become.
And now a word from the sponsors who make this podcast possible. Hey, docs. If you want to have a great business, the right practice management software is essential. But some can be slow, outdated, and lacking good support. That's why I recommend Greyfinch to all orthodontists. It's the fastest, most reliable, and most secure platform to grow your business and improve your efficiency. It's completely web-based, so you can run your entire practice anywhere and from any device, with no servers, no downloads, or hidden fees. They even have the most helpful and responsive support team around. Right now, Greyfinch is giving a $500 discount to our listeners. Visit greyfinch.com/Jill Allen to learn more and see why it's one of the fastest growing providers in America. Hey docs, let's talk about Smile Suite, because it's not just another scheduling system. It's a game changer in the world of new patient management. And as a proud Smile Suite partner, I've witnessed the incredible impact it has on practices of all sizes. Smile Suite means your new patient calls and web leads are expertly handled 7 days a week, even during nights and weekends. And they offer top-notch customizable presentation software and seamless post-consultation follow-up. It's like having a secret weapon for your practice's success. Curious? Dive into the revolution at GetSmileSuite.com. And don't forget to mention Hey Docs to unlock some extra goodies. Elevate your practice with Smile Suite because every smile deserves a suite of excellence.
I love that you said that. And it makes me think of, it's like you had this muscle memory built up for your coping mechanisms that you have been building over the years. And I think my husband used to be in law enforcement, and this is a crude analogy, but muscle memory, and he had to always be prepared to use his weapon. And one of the things he used to always say is, if somebody is going to have a weapon, it has to be so automatic in using it, or you might as well just throw it at them, because it's not, you know what I mean? It's not going to work when it really matters. And I think when you saying this and hearing you talk about this and what you built up to, even to get to this point in your life where you have these, it wasn't like, oh, I just read a book and then I was like, oh, I try and apply those. You just defaulted to that muscle memory. And I would love it if we can just unpack that just a little bit more. I was trying to write it down as you were saying it. For any of us that are out there listening and thinking, gosh, do I have the muscle memory to, when life kicks me in the shins, and what is my response? Is my response flight? Is my response go dark? Is my response find gratitude? And so I wrote that you practice gratitude, you practiced anchoring, you practice being present. I'm sure I missed a couple of them, but would you mind just expanding on that a little bit? Because I think that those are some key things that somebody who's listening may want to just write down and be like, do I have the wherewithal to pull back on that when life is giving me a run for it?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, so the first, and if you are going to just do one of these skill sets, if you're going to have one regular daily practice, it would be gratitude. And that carries the most of this full conversation, because when you choose to be in a space of gratitude, you're naturally going to shift your focus. You're going to shift your perspective. You're going to pull back, like you're looking so close at an object that you're angry about. You can't have gratitude unless you pull back and you look around somewhere else. And for me, so every single morning I open up my social media with, what are you grateful for today? Just hoping and praying that people will start to make that a thing where they actually pause. This isn't just a Thanksgiving thing, and it's not just the month of November where we all say something we're grateful for. When I was going through that, it was literally wake up, gratitude before I even get out of bed. Like, what I'm grateful for the bed that's below me. I'm grateful for the sheets, for the warmth. I'm grateful that we only had to wake up for 6 hours last night in order to eat ice cream cones because my kids' chemo taste buds were all over the place. I'm grateful for whatever I could find in every moment. And it was something it was about like an action that would take me throughout the day. I'm going to say probably thousands of gratitudes, like going through my mind. And if I got stuck, I would just say thank you. Just say it over and over again to bring my heart into a different space. Because physically, when you're being grateful for something, there is no capability. You are not able to have a negative emotion when you're having that positive emotion. So it at least gives your system time to relax. It's not saying thank you was making my son better. I mean, I think it was, because it was making me better and like just that the energy was greater. But me saying thank you was allowing my nervous system just a blink of time to just recover a little bit so that I could keep moving and pushing forward for him. So that's the number one thing I would say. If you're going to take on a practice, it would be that. And the number two, and I can just mention a couple others, but the number two would be, I don't want to say find a yoga practice, because girl, I did not want to do yoga. I'm just spazzy, crazy. Like, you cannot slow this ADHD mind like down. People, they'd be funny, right? Like, how are you getting eyelashes, Callie? You can't lay down for an hour and have somebody do it. Like, there's no way you can do that.
Oh my
And
gosh, your spirit
same,
sister right here.
yes, all over the board, such high energy. So I think it was like in 2016 or something, I had on my vision board that I wanted to want to do yoga. I didn't want to do yoga. I wanted to want to do yoga. And I finally created this practice and I forced myself into it. I said, I'm going to do it for 30 days straight. This is something I've done a lot of times in order to change or create a new habit. And I was like, I'm going to go 30 days straight. And what was interesting is that like day 5, I could not go on day 6. Like my body was like, you really want to go. And for me, I'm like, this isn't even a workout. Like why am I, I'm like not doing HIIT workouts or running. Like
Yep.
I was all tough and gruff and that. And I realized it wasn't even about the yoga or the movement or the stretching. It was about the mindfulness that brought the meditation,
Yes.
the slowing down, the finding the comfort in discomfort, the forcing myself to be still even when things were difficult. And still to this day, it's, you don't like technically need to be going to do yoga, but I just say that because that's probably one of the simplest ways to get introduced to finding your shavasana in life. Your shavasana is like at the very end of your practice, you get to lay down with you're on your back and your hands are spread and your feet are spread and you just relax and you feel the vibration of your body, right? And you can do that in the middle of a flippin' storm, like finding out that your son has cancer. And during, I think his 3rd or 4th anesthesia, they had to go in and do a biopsy of his hip. And I remember specifically during that one, I went and I journaled and I did some of my different pieces. So journaling's another one. But then I went back and I laid in the waiting room and everybody's probably looking at me like I'm crazy. Like I'm full on in Shavasana in the waiting room, meditating, just visualizing his little body clearing and healing. And I would say, so those are 2 big ones, but I'm going to add a couple on there.
Sure.
So having your gratitude, finding your peacefulness or meditation or calmness practice. I think visualization is huge, whether you're trying to anchor yourself into a more positive situation of what's on the other side, or just in creation of what you want your life to become. Your life could be gorgeous right now, but you visualizing how you want it to become even better in different ways and having that be a consistent part of your practice. I think that's probably plenty for people to
I
start
think
with.
I love that. And these are all like super attainable things to do. And I just have to go backwards and laugh a
Yeah.
little bit about yoga because I have tried so many times that I'm like, give me the Pilates. I can still meditate during my 100.
Yeah.
My-
I hear that.
but I so agree with you. And I think it is tough. And I'm going to pull this back to business and business owners a little bit too. Gosh, I feel like we are always, there is never a time where you aren't thinking about something from a business perspective and then you throw personal life onto it. And I think just giving yourself the permission, whether it's yoga, as you said, or even just making yourself take a walk, and it's not a walk because it's exercise, but it's a walk just to be present with yourself, to listen to the birds, to let your mind run
Yeah.
free, whatever that is. And so I really love that these are all very simple things. But when we pull this back to when life kicks you in the shins, if we have started to work on or have these practices in place already, it seems as though it will just help you just automatically kick into that. And it's just maybe even more magnified because of the situation that you're going through.
Yeah. Yeah. And can I just comment on for our business owners or people that are in the business state, sometimes you need like the excuse. So the first time that I started meditating, it would be on a run. Be right. So I would listen to the Deepak Chopra and I'd be like, okay, the only way I can meditate is if I'm running and moving. Like I had to always be productive. And if you think about you're like resisting wanting to get quiet or to create that space, I just want to remind you that when you allow yourself to get off your phone, stop scrolling, don't fill every moment, to create that mental space, you're going to open up a platform where more ideas can arrive. If you're always so busy, that next big idea, that next big hit, that next big thing, there's no room for it. So if you say, I'm going to go to an hour of a yin class, which is like where you lay in each position for 3 to 5 minutes, it's like most people would hate it. If you can get in there and just let your mind get quiet and be like, but you never know when my next big idea is going to come. And if I let myself open up, then you're the soil, you're the fertile ground for something new to come in. Little
I
juice.
100% believe
Mhm.
in that and agree with you on that. As we've been talking, and I know we're going to have to come to an end here in a few minutes, but I just really feel your message just really resonates with, it doesn't matter if it's business owners, whoever's listening, and just as personally going through things or whatnot. Because I like it because it's not that we're avoiding the hard things that we're going through in life. It's just we're meeting them honestly and saying, okay, how am I going to choose to move my way through this? And I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you can talk a little bit about just how to, and you've already given us some really good, if there's anything else that you think would be important for us, and just for maybe that person, maybe speaking directly to the person who's listening, that is, I don't know, maybe feeling pretty powerless. They're just in that stuck point, and they're just feeling, yeah, I hear this, Jill. Yeah, I hear this, Callie. I can't move myself past this. How can you give us some tools on maybe how do we get to a point where we're a little more grounded, where we're feeling empowered to move beyond what we may be stuck?
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than stuck. Wherever you're stuck, even if you're stuck in like a great place, if you're stuck, you're not moving. Right? And
Mhm.
so for those of you who feel that, I think, number one, being open to be aware of what's around you. Just be open to be aware. There are
Mhm.
so many opportunities for advancement, for joy, for moving through whatever you're moving through, for support, for help. That it's all around you. But when you're stuck, you're looking down, your eyes are closed, you're in your own little sticky pile of mud and you're covered up. You just got to look up and look around and practice that. I like the physical practice for so many different reasons of pulling your shoulders back and opening up your chest, like this heart opening experiences where you can just look around you, even if you're just at a coffee shop, pull your shoulders back, look around you with your heart open to see that the world is there to abundantly give and provide for you. But when you close yourself and dive back into that little mud puddle of yours, it's the world's trying to give to you over and over again, but you're just not allowing for it. So open yourself up to that. One of the books that I love it's called The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. And there's 7 base decisions in there, 7 base principles. And what I love about this book is that it's for everyone. You don't want to learn a thing, you could still read the book. It's just an enjoyable adventure, like where this guy's going back in time, right? If you do want to open up your heart during it, you're going to learn multiple lessons. And one of the lessons is called The Buck Stops Here. And basically it's about taking ownership. And one of my biggest, I think, just like challenges of watching people move through life is when they choose to sit in victimization and blame. Like one of the lessons I go over and over and over with my children is we don't blame anyone else for anything. Like we are responsible for our actions, for our life, and for the results. And the beautiful part about that, at first it's hard because then you're like, yeah, but if you have your egos in the way, then you're like, I want to hide my authentic self because I just screwed something up. But when you take responsibility for where you're at in your life, the power is returned. Because if you're not responsible and you can blame everybody else, then you have to wait for somebody else to come and clean up your mess. You have to wait on everybody else because you're not in charge, they're in charge. And that feels very powerless. But the second that you realize, I'm the one that gave my kid the milk to spill, I'm the one that's responsible for the milk spilling, I had my own hand in that, then you get to make the changes. You get to take the power back. And it doesn't mean that what happened was wrong. That just happened. It's just something that happened. It's just a moment in your life where maybe things didn't go exactly right how you would want them to, but you get to change how you show up to this situation and the next situation. Whether it's my son's cancer and showing up to that's not something I can't change that, but I can change how I show up to it, or to my personal cancer that I'm fighting right now. I get to change how I show up each and every day. And you just look up, pull those shoulders back, open up your heart, and realize people are there to support you. And you get to choose to have the power. Take your power back.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Gives me goosebumps. And you are again in that it really is the outlook that we take, and sometimes as you have experienced in all of your ups and downs, like, it's complete cancer's out of our hands.
Yeah.
Nobody can do anything about it, but how we go through that, how we walk through that, how we walk through that with others, we do have a say so in, or how we deal with a business blunder that
Yeah.
may or may not be something that we had control over, how we come out on the other side. And so I really love that. So if there's one core takeaway that, gosh, and I'm going to say you've given us a lot today. So I'm
Good.
sure this episode, a lot of listeners are going to be on repeat. Oh, I need to grab those again. But
Love
if there
that.
was one core takeaway you hope listeners will walk away with today, what do you want them to think about or remember in cultivating perspective when they're walking through these different seasons of life?
Yeah. It's pretty much exactly that, actually, Jill, that every chapter has value. Every
Mm.
chapter that you're going to go through in your life. And I hope that you have a multitude of chapters, and each one of them, whether they're boring or meh, or they're full of trauma and challenges, or they're the peak of your business experience, every single chapter you move through is powerful, and it's developing who you ultimately get to become, which is what you're meant to be, as a person of joy and love. That's who you're meant to be.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's great. That's great.
yeah.
So, Callie, if there is somebody that wants to learn a little bit more about you, maybe they're like, she's exactly who I'm looking for, or I just need to talk to somebody about figuring out how to get more joy and gratitude in my life, or I want to listen to her podcast because I just need a daily dose of positivity. What's going to be the best way that they can connect with you or get in touch with you?
So it'd just be through any of my socials or my website. So the name is tricky. Sometimes you get to pick things and sometimes you don't, guys. So Caley Carroll does not spell how it's supposed to be. So CaleyCarroll. So many places that could go wrong there, but it's CaleyCarroll.com, and then Caley Carroll across all of the socials. There's a lot of positive influence and a lot about my son's journey and my cancer journey and positive perspective throughout that. And that's where you'd find me. And today I'm going to be sharing about ringing the bell, Jill. So right after this episode, I get to ring my own bell, and my son gets to come watch me do that during that today.
Congratulations.
Thank
Oh, I
you.
love
I know.
that.
So cool.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of Hey Docs today. And I just think this is a great way for us to start off the year with my listening audience, and just take a minute to say, okay, we got a whole year in front of us. Can we build some of these muscle memory components that we can get to be part of our personality, so that whether we're going through it now or at some point when life throws us a curveball, we're going to be ready for that.
Absolutely.
So the way I like to finish up Hey Docs, if you don't know this, is I love to just do a quick speed round with a couple of questions. Are you ready for the speed round?
Oh gosh, no, I'm not. This is out of my comfort zone. Let's do it.
I
Short-winded.
promise. I'll make it easy.
It's going to be
What
beautiful.
is one business trend you think more people should be paying attention to?
AI is going to be the next of everything.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. What is the most unexpected lesson you've learned in your career or your life?
It's never too late. It's never too late to try anything new. New career, new friendships, new anything.
Yep. Just keep pivoting.
Yeah.
Reinvent.
Exactly.
And then the last one, and this is just a fun one, but if you had unlimited resources, what is one big idea you'd bring to life?
Oh, I love this question. It would be to bring emotional intelligence and human kindness into our school systems, into our educational system, as like the core root, because information is so easily accessible now. I don't think that we're teaching people how to be kind humans. And I think that if that was a core part of our educational system, it'd be incredible.
Yeah, teach them young so it transcends through.
It will be a part of them forever if we could do that.
Yep, absolutely. Again, thank you so much for being on Hey Docs, and I just appreciate all that you said today, and wish you the absolute best as you guys are going through all of your health trials, and congratulations on ringing the bell. Yourself and your son. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jill. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on today.
Bye.
Bye.